Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, we will be speaking about our programs related to accounting and finance. Lancaster University Leipzig is a branch campus of Lancaster University, one of the top UK universities. And currently, we are offering two programs related to accounting and finance. And those are Bachelor of Science with honors in accounting and finance. And the second program is Bachelor of Science honors business management with accounting and finance. And today we will be speaking about these two programs. What are the differences between them? Which program maybe you should choose if you're considering to do so? And I am joined today by my colleague, Assistant Professor Dr. Benjamin Hammer. He's a lecturer in accounting and finance at Lancaster University Leipzig. And hopefully our current students will also join the conversation to share their experiences of studying with us. So my name is Maria Girenko. I'm a student recruitment advisor at Lancaster University Leipzig. Some of you might have been in touch with me previously if you already applied. So yeah, with this, I would like to hand over to Dr. Benjamin Hammer, and he will speak about the two programs in accounting and finance.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. Thanks for having me. Perhaps before I start the presentation, I'll say a few words about myself, and then I'll walk you through some slides giving details about the two programs and what's special about the campus and the people that are around. And then finally, we can, of course, have a discussion. I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. So my background is I have a PhD in finance and afterwards worked for a couple of years in Germany at a business school where I was in charge of a research institute for private equity, which is a area within finance dealing with funds that acquire businesses in order to sell them again. Of course, trying to increase the value in between. So they're trying to buy low and sell high and give the return back to institutional investors. And in 2020, I joined Lancaster University Leipzig. As a matter of fact, I think I was one of the first employees of the campus, and so was Maria, right? If I recall correctly. So we were the pioneers back in the day. So I joined as an assistant professor in accounting and finance, but I also had various administrative roles over time. At the moment, I'm also research and engagement director on campus. That means I'm basically in charge of developing a research strategy for the campus, engaging with regional stakeholders like other universities to establish corporations, but also companies that are around, things like this. I'm also the academic integrity officer on campus, so I'm involved with assignments and essays written by students, checking for the academic integrity of things. So I have multiple hats on. Today I have the hat of the lecturer in the accounting and finance programs on. So what I will do is now share my presentation with you and walk you through a few slides that hopefully are helpful for you. And if questions arise, as mentioned, I'll be more than happy to discuss with you afterwards.
Yeah, just feel free to drop your questions into the Q&A section. You can see it below, and then we will answer whenever there is an opportunity for that. Okay.
Great. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So I thought I'd start with a little introduction. There are various reasons why you may join Lancaster University Leipzig. There were a couple of reasons why I joined. A lot of information is available online and can be easily found by you, but I thought I'd summarize a little bit my takeaways. Back in the day, what I found intriguing about this endeavor is that the Lancaster Leipzig campus is a fully integrated branch campus, and that is special. These days, a lot of international universities operate teaching outposts across the globe. But a teaching outpost is typically not a fully integrated branch campus. What is the difference? The difference is that we hire people here in Leipzig to the same standards as in the UK, and we are full members of our departments in the UK. That means all the people here in Leipzig, they conduct research at the highest level with the aim of having a transformative impact on society, similar to our colleagues in the UK. Of course, the degrees that are offered right here are absolutely the same as in the UK. So all the quality assurance standards apply, of course, and I think this is important. You could say that the Leipzig campus is basically an extension of the main campus in the UK. That's how I would call it. It's not just a remote place. It's not just a teaching outpost. It is a full extension of the Lancaster University campus. A second thing that is relevant to mention is the global recognition of the university. There are various rankings and league tables that you can look at. One example of a UK league table is the one provided by The Complete University Guide, where Lancaster University ranks 10th. One example of a global league table is the one by QS World University Rankings, where Lancaster University ranks 122nd out of 1,500 universities. So that's actually a quite good result. Another thing worth mentioning is that Lancaster University received the gold rating in the Teaching Excellence Framework. And one thing that I can say is that no matter who teaches in Leipzig, all people are trained and have a pedagogic qualification, so to speak. There is a program, it's called the Postgraduate Certificate in Academic Practice, that the university requires. And this is a program, a training program where you are equipped with the latest pedagogic knowledge that you need in order to deliver and deliver in an excellent manner, so to speak. So that's about the teaching. About the research, in the UK, you have the Research Excellence Framework, which regularly monitors the research output of all the UK institutions and checks for the quality of the research that is conducted. And in 2021, according to the Research Excellence Framework, 91% of the research of Lancaster University was rated as internationally excellent or even world leading. So that is a huge percentage. And if I talk to my colleagues here in Leipzig from marketing, from supply chain management, from other disciplines, sustainability, for example, or economics, I can tell that all of these people are publishing in the top outlets globally. And later on, I will say a word or two on why this is actually relevant for a student. Because I think it is something that is special and not taken for granted. Yeah. A final thing is the complementary study experience. I think I can tell about that because by coincidence, I was born and raised in Leipzig. Yeah, I lived abroad for a long time. I lived in other cities of Germany. So I came back eventually, but I actually do have a comparison to other places in the world. And I would say that Leipzig is a particularly student-friendly city. That's because we have a very large student population in Leipzig. We do have other major universities like the University of Leipzig and the University of Applied Sciences. Altogether, we have more than 25,000 students in Leipzig. And of course, as a consequence, you do have a lot of student-specific offerings. And I think it's a fun city to live in for students. Leipzig also has a great cultural heritage, and it has a history of being open-minded and diverse. That's because Leipzig was always well known for trade fairs historically. It is a city with a major trade fair. And so for the people in Leipzig, is nothing special to welcome people from all across the world. Basically, they got used to that for hundreds of years. Yeah. And that is another thing that is special about the cultural heritage and the history of Leipzig. Another thing is the infrastructure. Leipzig is pretty much located in the heart of Germany, in the center of Germany, I would say. We do have an airport with a lot of connections within Europe. It's a approximately 1 hour train ride to Berlin. It's approximately 3 hour train ride to either Munich, Frankfurt, or Hamburg. So those cities with of course, a lot of industry, a lot of headquarters of stock listed firms, a lot of consulting firms. So that is relevant also for the job market and career opportunities. Something that is special is that our degrees are offerings of a Triple Crown accredited management school. So what does that mean? Lancaster University Management School has a Triple Crown accreditation. And this refers to I would say, an elite group of business schools in the world that are accredited by the three most prestigious international accreditation bodies. One is the AICSB, that's the US accreditation body. A second one is the AMBA, Association of MBAs, that's the UK accounting body. And the third one is AQUIS, the European Quality Improvement System, located in Brussels, I think, in Belgium. If you do a little bit of research on that, there are only 124 business schools in the world which have this Triple Crown accreditation, because it is fairly hard to get accredited by all these three accreditation bodies. They have very rigorous and stringent criteria, very high standards. And just because you are meeting the standards of one accreditation body, that doesn't automatically mean you also meet the standards of another body. So getting the accreditation of all the three bodies is a lengthy process. It requires a lot of resources, and it's fairly difficult to get all these accreditations. In Germany, we only have at the moment 4 institutions other than Lancaster that have the Triple Crown accreditation. In Italy, we have 3. In the Netherlands, we have 3. In Spain, we have 2. In Switzerland, we have 2. So you can see it's actually very rare within mainland Europe. Of course, it is important to mention that this is the presentation is about undergraduate programs, in accounting and finance, or in business management with an accounting and finance track. So, for example, if you look at AMBA, this is an accreditation that MBA programs, so master programs, obtain. So this is not directly relevant for an undergraduate degree in accounting and finance. Indirectly, however, it is, because it tells you something that the management school takes the efforts to obtain all these 3 accreditations. It is actually a mark of quality, of excellence, of global recognition, and that's why it matters, and that's why not everyone has it. Another thing I mentioned is on the previous slide, that in the QS World University ranking, Lancaster ranks 122nd. What a lot of people don't know is that for various disciplines that are offered by Lancaster University, actually the ranking is even higher. And that is true for both business and management studies, as well as accounting and finance. So here on the left-hand side, I have the QS World University ranking for the subject business and management studies. And you can see from 2015 until 2024, in business and management studies, Lancaster University always ranked top 100 worldwide. The same is true for accounting and finance here on the right-hand side. If you look for the QS World University subject ranking in accounting and finance from 2013 to 2024, across the board, the university always ranked top 100. So I think it's safe to say that Lancaster University has a great reputation, especially for the business management and accounting and finance subjects. So if you want to study accounting and finance at the Leipzig campus in Germany, we have two options for you. One is the Bachelor of Science with honors in accounting and finance, and the other one is the Bachelor of Science with honors in business management with an accounting and finance major, with an accounting and finance track. Where's the difference between the two? So in the accounting and finance bachelor is, by the way, a 3-year program. Perhaps you read about that already online. In this accounting and finance program, in year 1, we established the foundations of a broad spectrum of accounting and finance theories and concepts. Then in year 2, we talking about more advanced concepts directly related to accounting and finance. And then in year 3, you will actually acquire specialist knowledge in accounting and finance. What can you do with that? Well, a frequent employer, a heavily sought after employer is one of the so-called Big 4 accounting firms. So the Big 4 accounting firms, they comprise KPMG, PwC, EY, and Deloitte. So a lot of our graduates choose to apply at any of these Big 4 accounting firms. One feature of our Bachelor of Science in Accounting and Finance is that we are accredited by the ACCA. That is the professional body of the accountants in the United Kingdom. So that means if you want to become a chartered public accountant, you have a degree from Lancaster University in Accounting and Finance, then you get exemptions for the examination. So that means you have a fast track basically to becoming a chartered public accountant. And a lot of employees of Big 4 accounting firms are actually chartered public accountants. So that's definitely a plus. Other career opportunities, a lot of students apply at investment banks, financial advisory boutiques, mutual funds, hedge funds, or specialist corporate finance roles, like, for example, in Treasury Department or M&A department of larger corporations. The second option is the Bachelor of Science in Business Management with an accounting and finance track. So the difference is that in a nutshell, you acquire less specialist accounting and finance knowledge, but you actually do learn more about adjacent disciplines like strategy, marketing, or operations management. So that still means that you will have a lot of accounting and finance degrees in year 1, in year 2, and year 3. And as a matter of fact, you will share these modules with the BSc in accounting and finance students, but you also kind of look into other disciplines as well, yeah? And of course, then have a little bit less specialist knowledge in accounting and finance. It is still possible to apply at the Big 4 accounting firms, and also this degree is accredited by the ACCA, so you still obtain exemptions for the bar examination. But a lot of these graduates, since they are kind of, trained in more disciplines and also have some knowledge in strategy, marketing, operations management, and the like. A lot of the graduates apply for strategy consulting, for example, in-house consulting or corporate development jobs. So jobs that require a bit more knowledge in other disciplines as well that are not as specialist, like in accounting and finance in the BSc in accounting and finance degree. About your learning journey. So of course, one thing that you will experience is lectures with people like me and my colleagues from the faculty, where we deliver knowledge to you and help you learn about accounting and finance. So approximately 20%, 26 to 22% of the total hours invested are basically taught components, so scheduled contact hours. This also implies workshops. So workshops are more practice oriented. These are small group environments, yeah, where you apply things, where you discuss things with your peers, where you are able to ask questions to the lecturers. But I would say, and I mean, our students who are here today in the webinar, they can hopefully confirm or later on tell. I would also say that even in the lectures, it's quite interactive and also small group atmosphere. So you can certainly expect not more than a double-digit number of people in class. Yeah, and so one benefit of this is that you know your lecturers well, and your lecturers know the students well. I know all my students on a first name basis, so it is relatively easy to access your lecturer and ask questions, and this is of course helpful for the learning experience. Of course, independent study is part of your studies as well, as it is for every university around the world. But we guide it, yeah. So there are self-study questions which we provide, and oftentimes there's also group work that you do at home. So we do have an interactive learning environment at Lancaster. It's called Moodle, where we organize a lot of activities for our students that actually happen outside the classroom. In terms of the assessment, it varies a little bit depending on the specific module, but I think it's fair to say that literally all the modules involve some kind of coursework assessment. What does that mean? The academic year at Lancaster University had 3 terms. One term is called the Michaelmas term, is in fall. Then another term is called the Lent term, is in winter. And then we have a third term is called the summer term. And throughout these terms, especially throughout the first 2, the one in fall and the one in winter, we also have smaller tests like multiple choice tests, or we have little case study discussions or little take-home assignments that are part of your grading, yeah, part of your marking. So that means it's not all the summer exam. Yeah, there are smaller components throughout the course that you will have. And I think this is helpful from my experience to kind of relieve some pressure from the students and give them feedback early on as to where they stand in the learning journey. And so if there's a particular topic that you find hard to understand, you learn about it early on and you have a chance to revise and make sure you understand the idea behind that and be ready then for the summer exam. On average, the coursework components account for 52% of the grade in year 1, 28 in year 2, 33 in year 3. So especially in year 1, when you are new to the university, we will have a lot of these coursework components already throughout the term to make sure that you get feedback early on and make some progress and are not left behind, so to speak. A few frequently asked questions. Sometimes I get asked about the research, the importance of research intensity out of a student's perspective. So why would one care? I think is extremely crucial. Here in Leipzig, students benefit greatly from research-oriented teaching. What does that mean? On the one hand, research-oriented teaching means that students equip a special skill set. Like, for example, they're able to think creatively, explore new ideas, propose innovative solutions to complex problems. Yeah, so it's about the skill set that is different if you have lecturers that are research intensive and that promote research-oriented teaching on a daily basis. The other thing is about the newest knowledge that is delivered to you. So if you have people who publish in the leading outlets globally, that means you perhaps learn about new advancements before others do. And that is actually a critical skill in the job market as well. Yeah. A second question that I frequently receive is why study accounting and finance in particular, yeah, and not something else. In general, I think it's a good idea to specialize early on. So if you have either a BSc in accounting and finance or a business management degree with accounting and finance major, both are considered specialist degrees. And the benefit of this is that it gives you plenty opportunities after you graduate. It is possible to continue with postgraduate education, although it's not necessarily needed because you acquired so much specialist knowledge already that you can also enter the job market directly. And at least from the previous years, we can tell that the majority of students in accounting and finance did that. Yeah, so they went for a job directly after their bachelor. If you study a more generalized degree, like a BSc in business management without any kind of major in accounting and finance, for example, then of course you do have less specialist knowledge. Yeah, so you learn something about the various business disciplines, but you never go deep. Yeah, you never delve deeper into specific areas. That's why a lot of students actually then decide to continue with postgraduate studies and specialize in the master's program. But of course, if you obtain the specialization early on, you know, that leaves all the doors open. So direct job entry or continuing with postgraduate education. I think for accounting and finance, there are great career opportunities. It's not just about banks. It's not just about the accounting firms, the big four accounting firms or other advisory boutiques. It is also about every corporation that is, for example, stock listed. Literally every firm has a finance department. Every firm has a CFO. Finance and accounting is a subject that every company needs. So it gives you great career opportunities. Since all firms need that skill and need people who know about accounting and finance, I think there's a good job stability. There is usually high demand for these people. Statistically speaking, accounting and finance jobs are paid well, yeah? So there is a high earnings potential. Even if you decide later on to go into another discipline and do not work in accounting and finance directly, I think the skill that you develop here in accounting and finance degree is absolutely helpful and crucial. So even in other areas, like you work in strategy or you work in corporate development, I think it is helpful because accounting and finance degree are to some extent quantitative. Yeah, so you develop analytical skill, and that is always needed, yeah, regardless of what you do. And then the final thing, and I mentioned this, is that our degrees are accredited by professional bodies. So you also have a chance to get a professional certification later. Final thing for today, by coincidence, I am German and I give this webinar today. It is really a coincidence. So I did not want to create the impression that if you come to Lancaster Leipzig, you are only getting taught by Germans. As a matter of fact, that's actually not true. Here I did a little bit of homework on where are all my colleagues coming from. So I checked only the lecturers in these two degrees, yeah, business management with accounting and finance and accounting and finance directly. And you can see our lecturers are coming from the US, from UK, Spain, Kosovo, Lebanon, Pakistan, India, China, and Hong Kong. And I don't even think I managed to get all the people. So for some, I still need to double check where they're exactly from. So people are experienced, people traveled the world, lived in other countries. And I think this creates a nice atmosphere on campus. It is very international, very diverse, more so than a lot of other institutions, at least those that I work for. And I think that is something that I embrace every day. That's it from my side, just a short presentation. Happy to discuss questions. We do have some time. So yeah, Maria, over to you. And I do think we have some questions already in the chat. I'm not sure, you want to start with our students' voices, or you want to start with
no, I think we can answer the academic questions because they relate to the program, so it's only logical for you to continue speaking about the program. And one of the questions is, are there any optional modules available for these two programs?
Yes, for the business management with accounting and finance, there are some choices to make. For the accounting and finance degree, Not at the moment. So the accounting and finance degree has a list of modules that you are supposed to take. For the business management with accounting and finance, there is some optional modules that you can choose from.
Yeah, here I would also like to emphasize that the programs are highly specialized, and you can tell BSc programs in the UK educational system are only 3 years long, whereas in many countries the programs are 4 years long because they also encompass many optional modules, some unrelated to the main specialization, some other subjects. So this is one of the reasons why there is not always a choice of modules.
Yeah, and also
Right.
the ACCA accreditation that I mentioned requires a certain set of modules that need to be delivered. So you cannot deviate from that easily. But yeah, as mentioned, for the business management with accounting and finance, like those areas other than accounting and finance that you would like to study, especially in year 3, there are some modules that you can pick. Yeah, if you want to go into marketing or learn more about strategy, then there is some options that you have. Yeah.
Right. And there is a second question. I will be trying for chartered accountant exams simultaneously with my bachelor. Will I have time to prepare for both?
Yes, I think in general there is time to prepare for both. I mean, to some extent, the preparation is the same. As mentioned, the examination has great overlap with the topics that we study in these 2 degrees. So that's why I would say, yes, it's doable. If you learn for a summer exam in one of my modules, you automatically also prepare for the examination of the ACCA CPA exam. I should mention though that usually if you want to become a chartered public accountant, you do need some work experience. Yeah, so you can take the exams already as a student, but until you get the official CPA title, you typically need some work experience in accounting. Yeah, so it does need a little bit of work experience on top of things. Nevertheless, it is a fast track that you have. You get exemptions for some exams due to the fact that the modules that we are having right here do have great overlap with the modules that are delivered by ACCA and get assessed in the CPA exams. Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. And one more question that I received just recently from a interested student. So we do require mathematics for admission onto both programs, mathematics in high school, I mean. How much mathematics do you actually need? Like what kind of mathematical preparation is needed? Is it like really a lot of quantitative disciplines? What would you say?
I mean, you should have had some exposure to math in your high school education, I would say, but you definitely don't need to be super math savvy. I mean, I was, I was not a particular math talent in high school. I would not say so. And nevertheless, I obtained a PhD in finance. The subject is quantitative by nature. So it involves analytical tools. Questions are oftentimes numeric, which, by the way, I think is positive for international students. If you want to find a job in finance, you basically, there are opportunities all around the world. It's not a job that needs a lot of language skills because it's not as discursive like as other disciplines. It's more about number crunching, analytical skill, which I think is very good if you want to find a job outside of your home country. In finance, there are plenty of opportunities. Also, if you check the course description, not the course descriptions, the job descriptions of many employers, very often they will not require, for example, German to a very high level if you apply for a job here in Germany. So another thing that is worth mentioning is that although the subject by nature is analytic, and quantitative, we are here to help you with that. Yeah, so On the slides, we oftentimes provide the derivation so that you understand where the formulas come from. We always have ebooks that are available that accompany the course, so you can also read more about that. For this reason, I think there is no reason to be afraid of it as long as you had some kind of math education in high school. But as mentioned, I was not a great math talent, I would say, in high school, and nevertheless, I had a career in finance.
Thank you very much for specifying. There was a question about admissions requirements. On our website, you can find admissions requirements for different high school qualifications. Since they are different, we cannot really advise what exact level of math you need. It depends on your qualification. So please check our website. I sent you the link as a reply to your question, and you can check. Yeah, I would say the requirements are not very high. Can I switch from business management with accounting and finance to accounting and finance in the second year of study? What would you say? I think
perhaps you know better than me.
No, I think in the first year it might still be possible. Students who start with the foundation program, they have a choice at the end of the program, and I believe that it's possible to change in the first year of study, but it really depends. You would need to speak with our student services and see the timeline. In the second year of study, I don't think it's possible. Yeah. How can I find more details about the modules? So we have actually program descriptions on our website as well. I can send you the link. And you can see year by year schedule description of modules that you would be taking. Okay. So here is the link. If we offer full scholarships, no, unfortunately, we don't offer full scholarships. You can check the available scholarships on our website as well. I can send you the link a bit later. And now I would like to introduce our current students. So thank you, Ben, very much for the presentation. Maybe there will be other questions coming up. So if you think of any other questions for Dr. Hammer, please leave them in the Q&A section. And now I would like to introduce our two students, Victor and Daniel. Victor is our first year student in the accounting and finance program, and Daniel is more experienced. He is our year 3 student. Hello.
Hi everyone.
We can hear you well. Thank you for joining us. So I would like you to maybe start with introducing yourself, your name, where you come from, and why you chose to study at Lancaster University Leipzig. Victor, maybe?
Yeah, okay, so I can start. So I'm Victor, I'm from Brussels, Belgium. I decided to come here in Lancaster University Leipzig because it's closer to home than in the UK. So that was one of the main reasons. And also Germany was interesting to go see what was happening here and to go into a new culture and to find out more about this country with a very strong economy and more.
Daniel?
Yeah, and my name is Daniel. I come from Romania, from a small town in Romania. I chose to come here. Initially, I wanted to go to study in the UK, but I found out that you can study at the British University here in Germany, and I was like, yeah, why not? It sounds interesting, sounds fresh, sounds new. Let's try it out.
Yeah, I would also like to specify that if you come from Europe, you would pay lower fees. You would pay European fees when you study at Lancaster University Leipzig compared to the main UK campus, because after Brexit, you have to pay international fees as a European student in the UK. So this is also, of course, an important aspect for European students. So why did you both choose to study accounting and finance in particular? So you had a choice of different programs. Why did you choose to study it, and why did you choose to study it with us in particular?
So I am more interested in the finance part, and at the beginning of my studies, I I didn't really know what to expect of the accounting part of the module and the degree, but honestly, I was pleasantly surprised on how well the two of them mix together and how much you need both in order to understand the economic situation of a company or of a country, for example, because you find out aspects of both accounting and finance are very important in taking decisions about investing, about everything, honestly.
And for Victor, actually, a particular question. Victor was actually our foundation student, so he started with a foundation program first. And at the end of the foundation program, you had a choice of several programs to progress onto. So why did you choose accounting and finance in particular?
Okay, so me, the reason why I decided to do the foundation is because when I was done with the IB, I wasn't really sure of what I wanted to do, because I didn't really have time to maybe to check it and to get into it. So I decided to do the foundation year, where I was supposed to at first, after the foundation year, maybe do business management, but throughout the year and looking at what everybody was doing here and like different friends that I had in both, I had the opportunities to talk about it with a lot of people, and then decided to choose accounting and finance because like it was a better fit for me. I was feeling more into the financial world, like Daniel here, like for the future. Like I'm getting way more interested in that, in investment banking, M&A, and all those different area where you can go in that. But I'm still very interested too in entrepreneurship and some other of the business management would offer. So I guess like the accounting and finance is a very good fit for me because I can still talk about both, as I joined the entrepreneurship hub this year where we can talk about that a lot. And so yeah, so the foundation year helped me a lot getting into what I want to do in my future.
For our viewers who are maybe not very much familiar with our foundation program, I would just like to say that the foundation program is a preparatory year, and some students are required to take this foundation program in case, for example, their school qualification is not equivalent to the British A-levels qualification. Other students just choose to do so. To maybe to develop their academic skills, but also to understand maybe some basics of what they would be studying. After the foundation program in business, you have several options to choose from. So you have accounting and finance, you have business management with accounting and finance, you have a general business management program, business management with business analytics, and business management in media. This will be our new program starting the next academic year. As I mentioned, so Victor had a choice of several programs and chose accounting and finance. Could you maybe speak a little bit more about your academic interests and what you would like to do in the future? What are your career plans? What do you expect to do? Maybe, Victor, I don't know if you already know what you would be doing in a couple of years, but yeah, you mentioned that you're interested in entrepreneurship, investment. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, so I'm not really sure yet what I'm going to go for, but as more as I study here, as more as I get more interested in few subjects that of course I learn with time. Like I know that I'm 100% going to do like a master or an MBA after, but in what, I'm not sure yet. Maybe a master in finance. And for me, I was also very interested in maybe doing an MBA after, because like it would open the door more for what I want to do after in the future. Like the combination of both degree for me could be a good match. But right now, I'm gonna go more in the financial field than the accounting or audit field. But where exactly, not sure yet exactly. But with time, I know it will come.
Yeah, of course, no doubt. And of course, this question is more relevant for Daniel because he's graduating this year. And Daniel is also already a working student, so he already has some professional experience. Could you speak a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, sure. So At the beginning of my second year, I was fortunate enough to find a position at PwC as a working student in the audit department, position that offered me a lot of insights into the industry, and I got to experience firsthand how it is to work in a big accounting firm, and establish contacts with clients, work in big teams, specialized teams, and all of that. And I am, maybe this is gonna sound bad, but I don't want to do auditing. After this year and a half of experiencing the industry, I realized that it's not for me. I am grateful for the opportunity that I had and all the learning that I've managed to do during my time at PwC, but I'm exploring different avenues. As I said, I'm more interested in the finance part. And I know Ben is gonna smile when he hears this, but he already knows. Um, yeah, right now I'm looking into different options. In the future, maybe I would like to do consulting, financial consulting, or get into investment banking. But I feel like that's something that every finance student says, and not everyone can do that. So, I am keeping my options open right now. Maybe even corporate finance. I would really be interested in that just to see different industries from the inside, from like an actual company rather than, case studies and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you. I would also like to point out that just recently we had a webinar about career support on campus, and Daniel was also speaking a bit more about his professional experience. So I highly recommend you all to watch the recording of that webinar about careers and engagement at Lancaster University Leipzig. The recording is available on YouTube. So going back to the program itself, what would you say is what do you find exciting about the program, and is there maybe something you find challenging, Victor?
What I would find challenging in the program, like with the first year, but one thing that was a bit challenging was, of course, quantitative methods, I guess, because it's a hard course, but it's a very important course for the future of the program. But in general, like knowing that we only had 3 modules this from 4, but like it wasn't that spread, it was very focused and they were all a bit connected. It made the things not very challenging at the end and pretty easy to just follow up and continue throughout the year. So I guess like compared to the other like modules where you would have like 7 different classes throughout the year. Like this one, we had like very few compared to them, with only 4 exams at the end. So it's gonna be big, but like I guess like made the things way less confusing and way more into and interesting in the subject.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that you said it was easy to follow? Do you feel that your foundation year experience helped you in your first year, so that you find it less challenging?
It helped me more, I would say, on the university time to get you to work. Like when you first do the transition between university and I would say high school, it's like you have this gap of time before you're getting into the work and understanding how it works. Also, the thing with not knowing people and all of that, that helped a lot because I arrived here this year, like having my friends knowing the city already, so I could get directly into work, but like also like to get my marks and to understand what I'm doing. It could take a gap for some people of understanding that like that it's different than high school. Like you actually need to work to
Mm-hmm.
put time into it, even outside classes on your notes. And I guess it helped me a lot for that. And also like we saw things that I saw this year, so it was knowledge I already had.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
helps.
I also saw that more than 70% of your course is actually independent study, which is quite a huge number. So it must be also difficult for some students to arrange their free time to do so much independent study. Daniel, from your experience after almost 3 years of studying with us, what did you find the most exciting about the program, and if there was also some challenges?
The most exciting part for me was probably I don't know, just seeing the progression throughout the years. Like you start studying something in first year, it's really general, but you're getting like the basics of it. And then throughout the years, you keep building up on that information. And it gets to a point where you look back at what you studied in the first year and you're like, wow, we really came far. Like this really, we brought this somewhere. And it's like the continuity between the modules from year on year is really good. And it really feels like you're using the information that you have from the previous years. This is something that I find really, really exciting, especially because I was talking to some of my friends that are doing university in Romania, and they're complaining about having a lot of courses that are pointless or irrelevant in terms of like they're doing it once and then they're not touching whatever they studied for the remainder of their studies. So this is definitely something that I enjoyed very much during my time here.
And when you started working, did you feel like the coursework prepared you for your professional life?
It's actually funny because I started working in audit right before the end of the first term in second year, and we only had an audit course in the second term of second year. So I was more or less like spoiling the auditing course by gaining work experience. So for me, I would say that yeah, in some capacity, the accounting courses helped me in my work, but it wasn't as relevant as if I would have started working 2 months later.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, so Daniel, you are a class representative for your accounting and finance group cohort.
Yeah.
What could you tell us a bit more about it? What does it imply? What is a class representative?
As a class representative, I would say that you're basically just the connection point between the voice, like the people that are in your class, your colleagues, and the lecturers. So your main task should be just making sure that there's a healthy line of communication between what the students want and what the lecturers demand. Some of my responsibilities, I would say, were, making sure that if there was a change in schedule, that everyone was aware of that. And for some of the lectures, they actually organized midterm meetings just to make sure that there weren't any complaints or suggestions, and if there were suggestions, that they had the time to apply and see if it actually works. And that was a really, really like a cool thing to do, because I remember in one of the courses there were like a couple of suggestions that, particularly for me, I was skeptical when I heard them for the first time, but after they were implemented in the class, it really helped everyone like focus on what was actually like at hand and not, wander off into like the vast amount of information that was being delivered.
Mm. Thank you very much. And Daniel, another question for you. I know that you went to the UK just recently to the main campus and visited the management school, at the main campus. Could you tell us a few words about your experience? Do you really feel like Lancaster University student?
So, in my limited time in the UK, I have found out a lot about the Belgrade campus and the way that they're running things over there. I was really surprised to see just how many societies they have, and uh, I feel like the community there, even though it's like a bit bigger, they specialize and they form groups around their common interests, and that's something that I feel is a bit lacking over here. But I am working on fixing that together with student services. I am right now in contact with the president of the Accounting Society and the Investment and Finance Society. and we're figuring out a way to bridge this geographical barrier and include the Leipzig students into the activities of the societies. So we're working on fixing this feeling that, we're like a different campus. I would love if like people would feel as if, you can always like reach out to the people in Balearic and the other way around, obviously.
Yeah, of course, that's important because Ben also mentioned that there are a lot of research connections, of course, between the campuses, and it was also important to mention the diploma you get here at Lancaster University Leipzig is the same as in the UK. So yeah, of course it's important also on this level of, for example, clubs and societies to feel like a part of the main campus. Ben, sorry, you raised your hand. Would you like to add something?
Yes, yeah, I wanted to add something. I mean, before I do that, just to this point again, I mean, we do have some clubs in Leipzig as well, but yes, of course, the student numbers are smaller than on the main campus, and so naturally you have less clubs and society than in the UK with some 50,000 plus students. I think it's a little bit of a trade-off. In Leipzig, we have smaller groups. If you think of the accounting and finance bachelor, you would have easily 400 or 500 students on the main campus, whereas here, as mentioned, we are talking about double-digit number of students. So the atmosphere is a bit different, as a smaller group, we know each other very well. You can easily access your lecture and discuss. I think that's a plus, but of course it comes at the expense of overall smaller student numbers. Then of course you have some fewer societies and clubs here. But I think the nice thing about Lancaster Leipzig is, again, is a fully integrated branch campus. So if you want to spend a year in the UK, you can do that. We had students who decided to do an exchange, and so you can get the best of both worlds, basically, if you wanted to. The other thing that I wanted to mention is when it comes to making decisions about what to study, what to do afterwards. Another thing that I like very much, and that is specific of UK institutions, and especially Lancaster, is that students have an academic tutor, and we usually meet once a term, and we discuss the progress, we discuss possible problems, but we also give general career advice. And I think this is very helpful. Yeah? Students are not left alone. And this is also true for the independent study that you were mentioning, Maria. I agree that 70% plus of all the hours that you spend are independent work. But that's actually not as much as it sounds, because this independent work is guided by us a lot. So these activities occur through Moodle, yeah, but we do have feedback via Moodle. So although I'm at home and a student is in his or her place, nevertheless, we communicate also via our online system, and it is officially independent, yes, but it is guided. And I think what is special also when I compare it to a lot of German experiences that I made before, is that in fact we do have a structured timetable. We kind of give students kind of some structure that they can make use of in terms of the timetable that they have, the activities that we orchestrate for them. So that is actually something that is unique and that I find very special. And I think it is also very positive for the learning progress. I cannot give statistics here, but in general, I think that there is that the results here on campus are actually quite good, at least from my subjective experience. And that has something to do with the small group size, with the interactive learning, and also with the fact that we guide a lot of self-study, independent work at home, that we guide it through the ebook, through our Moodle operating system and things like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, there was a question about clubs and societies. We mentioned a little bit on that. We do have, every year it's actually different, so we cannot say which clubs and societies will be available next year because our campus is growing every year. We have, for example, a robotics club. We might have an investment club if Daniel succeeds in his endeavors. We have students playing football and basketball once a week. So there are there is a chess club, for example. So there are some clubs to choose from. We also have a social committee. These are our active students who help us arrange some new clubs and activities for students. So yeah, if you join us next year, you might be a part of some new club. Right. So if there are, do we have any other questions? If you forgot to ask anything, just go ahead. We are a bit over the time, but just to sum it up, so Daniel and Victor, is there something you could advise to prospective students? So when you remember, when you go back in your mind to the times when you were choosing a university, choosing a degree to study, is there some piece of advice that you wish you knew or you could give to a prospective student who is watching us today? Victor?
I would say to go for what you really like, not what people want you to do. Because if it's not what you like, you will not do it because it's very hard. So, like, if you're not interested in the subject, that means like you will not put attention to it. You will not very do anything for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I
Do
think
what you
when you
want.
are really interested in a subject, then 70% independent studies seems easy. Yeah, Daniel, is there something you would like to advise,
This is
recommend?
more like if I could talk to my younger self and give like myself a piece of advice. If you choose to study in a different country, then use the opportunity you have to actually learn the language of the country that you're studying in. Because it's especially like if you want to come to Germany. Germany is one of those countries where it's actually important to speak the local language. And yeah, I did not expect that to be that much of a case. And looking back at it, I definitely regret not putting in more effort to study the language while I was here. And it's definitely doable. In 3 years, you can definitely get to the conversational level or even higher than that. So yeah, study the language that you of the country that you live in.
Yeah, that is definitely useful. Even though we have a lot of graduates and current students who work in English, it is also possible, but of course it opens a lot more opportunities for you to speak the local language. There is no doubt. Okay, thank you. Ben, anything from your side? Thank you very much for the useful presentation. I think it really covered most of the questions students could have had before watching it.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor and Daniel. Good luck with your studies. And
Thank you.
if anybody watching us now, if you have any questions in the future, just feel free to reach out. We also have an opportunity to chat with our current students. We have an ambassador platform on our website where you can chat with students from different countries, maybe from your home country or from the program you would like to study. It's a great chance for you to be in touch with our students and find out more about their experiences. Thank you very much, everybody. I will stop the recording.